Twitter has banned the nonpartisan campaign group Articles of Unity for allegedly promoting the hashtag Just Say No to Donald and Joe. Articles of Unity, it launched the hashtag as part of a campaign to elect a bipartisan presidential ticket, and it was suspended at the end of August. Joining me to discuss the suspension is the founder of Articles of Unity himself, Bret Weinstein. Thanks so much for joining us, Bret. It's great to see you again.
Thanks for having me, Sagar.
Of course. So tell us what's going on here. How could it be possible that a campaign organization, which is just advocating for a different path here in the United States, gets banned from one of the largest social media platforms in this country?
Well, we are facing a brand new landscape with tech platforms that have an incredible amount of power to decide what is discussed and what points of view are legitimate. And they also have political interests, which they are apparently now wielding in a way that prevents anyone who wishes to escape the hegemony of the duopoly from mounting an effective challenge.
Mm-hmm. And so just can you explain, and let's be fair to Twitter here, what is their explanation? Or do they even have a good explanation? What's going on, Bret?
Well, it depends. I filed the relevant appeal with the flagship account, and I have heard nothing back. It's now closing in on 2 weeks since this incident. We do know, back channel, that Twitter argued that we had registered a great many, they said something like 50 accounts for the purpose of promoting the hashtag. That never happened. When they leveled this accusation, we did a thorough investigation internally and found nothing whatsoever that mirrored their accusation. And certainly there was nothing within the confines of that account that would justify a suspension. So at some level, we are left with the fact that Twitter has declared us in violation, has provided no evidence, has provided no official allegation for us to rebut, and has ignored our request for an appeal.
Bret, let's go over Articles of Unity and what exactly you're proposing here, just to understand what is being silenced. I mean, it couldn't be a less anodyne. I mean, it couldn't be a less threatening, so to speak, something if you're a normal person, but apparently it is to some very established people in power. What are you proposing?
Well, what we are proposing is a mechanism to defeat the argument that is always marshaled when somebody advances an idea outside of the duopoly's official candidates. So the argument that always comes back is that if you advance a candidate outside of the duopoly structure, that you will inherently draw support away from the major party candidate that is closer to your values and therefore push the system in the opposite direction and elect the greater evil. In order to defeat the lesser evil, greater evil paradox, we put together a structure in which we propose to draft two candidates, one from the left and one from the right, under the agreement that they will govern together by consensus. The person who runs at the top of the ticket is chosen by a coin flip. After 4 years, the positions reverse. And so this balanced structure tends to draw support from both sides of the political spectrum and therefore does not play the spoiler role. We still run into this argument, but it is, of course, incoherent in this context. We know from our internal data that our supporters are almost evenly drawn from both sides, with a slight bias in being drawn from the would-be Trump supporters. And we also know that our proposal is very attractive to disaffected voters who were not planning to vote. Something like 25% of our volunteers are drawn from that group.
Wow. And Bret, just tell us, before this Twitter censorship, what were the type of numbers, engagement, and many of the other things that you were seeing in your internal data? Just exactly, how nascent was this movement right before they cut it off?
It's a little hard to say because a lot of our support is in the form of people who, if we deliver on the promise of a viable ticket that is available to vote for in their state, they will do it. But in the absence of that viability, they are going to vote for one of the major party candidates. And so what we have is a tremendous amount of support for the idea of getting to the ballot and of advancing these candidacies, but it is contingent. And this is why Twitter's suspension is so important. They are blocking our ability to access those people who would create the groundswell that makes the movement viable as an actual political plan.
Right. And then finally here, Bret, where can people find out more if it's not going to be on Twitter?
Well, they can go to our site, articlesofunity.org. Interestingly, Twitter blocked the posting of that link, and I believe it is still blocked so that you cannot post it in DMs. So Twitter has behaved in an egregious fashion here, and what I would suggest is Twitter is not the ghost in the machine. The ghost is the machine. And if you want to know what it is that Twitter doesn't want you looking at, you should come seek us out on the web, give us your email address, and we will keep you posted.
Well said, Bret, and I'm glad that we could shine some light on it. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it.
All right, thank you.